Hello everyone, back tuning into today's first video. So we're going to have a look at, well, next week, 10 days for today's first video. That takes us to Christmas Eve, can you believe? So we are getting ever closer to the Christmas period. And talking of Christmas, we're going to have the 21st of 25 Christmas updates for you this evening. Now, things are getting quite uncertain about this period. I'm going to show you the midnight run of the GFS within this video. And it is going for really quite a cold and wintry Christmas. However, there's not much support for that from the other models, particularly the ECMWF. And there's not all that much support within the GFS ensembles either. So I think it was quite an outlier. I'll try and bring you up to date with the 6 o'clock run to Christmas Eve as well. That's just updating right now. We'll see what that one has to say as well. But we'll start off having a look at the temperature in the stratosphere. But before I go on with that, just to say that Christmas Shop is still open, so you've got any Christmas Shop to do at Amazon between now and Christmas. All you have to do is click the green button that says Gaz Christmas Shop. It takes you through to our Christmas Shop page, and then from there, the key to it all is to go through the Amazon banners. Because you've gone from Gaz Service to Amazon, we get a revenue fee on the things that you are buying, and a big thank you to everybody for doing that again. This year, you've got 10 days until Christmas Eve, so there is enough time to get those Christmas presents to you, but don't leave it too much longer. Big thank you to everybody for doing that. Right, start off with the temperature at 30 HPA in the stratosphere over the North Pole. So this is the current situation. It's from the JMA, the Japanese Meteorological Agency website. The grey line here is the trend line for time of year. The black line shows where we've been and where we're going with the, or where we are right now, with the temperature at 30 HPA. So we start off there in September. Through November, we had quite a cold stratosphere. Very odd what happened in November and into the start of December. So the stratosphere was cold, yet we had quite a lot of high pressure blocking in the troposphere. So the two weren't really linking together all that well. Where we are right now is that we are warmer than average. So remember, the grey line is the trend for the time of year, and you can see, or the average time of year, and you can see that the black line is above the grey line. So quite clearly, we are a little bit warmer than average with those temperatures at 30 HPA. And that could be indicative of the high pressure and the blocking that we had over the North Pole through the past few weeks, because there could well be a knock-on effect to that in terms of bringing slightly warmer air up into the stratosphere. What we're looking for to get a sustained blocking feature is a sudden stratospheric warming. That is where we'll take this black line and within a few days we'll do something rather like that. Within 2 or 3 days we'll send the black line up to there somewhere. Always looks very dramatic when they happen. And when you get that, the high pressure will eventually, or can eventually, form down in the lower level. So you warm the temperature in the upper level of the atmosphere, in the stratosphere. It propagates down through the layers of the atmosphere into the troposphere. And then from there, that's the boundary of the atmosphere where weather takes place, of course. From there, you can start to generate areas of high pressure, and those high pressures form blocks, blocking feature over the pole, and the block is the route taking the cold air out of the pole and down into the mid-latitudes. This is what the GFS has been predicting for the past few days in terms of those temperatures at 10 HPA over the North Pole. It has been going for perhaps not a sudden stratospheric warming, but it has been going around the Christmas period for quite a pronounced warming. So we're starting on the 22nd of December. This is the latest GFS run, the midnight run. I say 6 o'clock run is just updating, but I'm going to show you the midnight run first. And we've got these cold temperatures in the stratosphere at 10 HPA over the North Pole on the 22nd of December, where we're starting off. If we run through, what you see happening is that the yellow colours are appearing over here across the Siberian side of the pole by 27th of December. And those yellow colours deepen and actually become orange colours by the 30th of December. That's a major warming that's taking place. Still not quite reaching the level of a sudden stratospheric warming. For that, it would have to go up another 5 or so degrees. But that is a major warming that's taking place there over the stratosphere, or in the stratosphere, over Siberia, and trying to penetrate in towards the North Pole. If we could run on a few more days, I suspect we would see this warming intensifying a bit more and starting to push in towards the North Pole as well. But certainly until the 30th of December, it is going through quite a significant warming event in the stratosphere over the North Pole. This is what happened on the 27th of January 1991. They are adding in stratospheric data from the ECMWF at metrosil.fr now. So you can go right the way back. I think you can go all the way back to 1979, quite interestingly, with this information sort of reanalysis that they've got at Metrosil. But that's the kind of thing we're looking for. That's how things were looking on the 27th of January 1991. You notice the bright red colours there sitting right over the top of the pole. A very major and significant sudden stratospheric warming event taking place in the last week of January 1991. And that's important because around a week later, sometimes it takes a bit longer than that, but around a week later, we set up a very intense area of high pressure over Scandinavia, and we had one of our coldest spells of the 20th century during February 1991, with loads of snow and severely cold easterly winds. Now, we don't have to go quite to that level of warming to get blocking conditions, but that's the kind of thing we're looking for. Obviously, what we see being predicted by the GFS at this point doesn't reach that level. But as I say, it is a major or quite significant warming that's taking place there by the latter stages of December, if we believe the GFS. And whilst it isn't at that point penetrating actually into the pole, it's still over Siberia, you would suspect that if we could go on a few more days, we'll probably see warming infiltrating into the pole. Do have a look at these charts at metrosil.fr. So you go all the way back to 1979, and really fascinating to see how many of the classic sort of cold spells and cold months that we've had in the British Isles back to 1979 were preceded by some sort of significant stratospheric warming event. Really quite fascinating information there. Right, so getting on with the video then, that's all on a bit of a tangent really. Let's have a look at where the next week to 10 days. Going to start off with the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. The red line here is a 30-year upper air temperature average. This is where we are right now. Of course, cold and average. A few more days of cold and average conditions to continue through to the weekend. And then into the start of next week, those temperatures are lifting up. Really from Sunday onwards into next week, we're going much milder than average, above the 30-year temperature average. And then we've got the dates on the bottom. So this is Christmas Day just here. This is the post-Christmas period just there. And beyond, sort of up to Christmas, beyond Christmas, it looks like we're keeping things quite mild, really. You will notice that there's this green line just here, but it is significantly cold and average. That was this morning's midnight run of the GFS. I will show you it in a moment, and you can see that quite clearly it was a cold outlier, really. There are other members of the ensembles that are going quite cold for this period, but no other ensemble member is doing what the midnight operational GFS did in going down to that sort of very cold level and keeping it there throughout the Christmas period. So I will show you that midnight run of the GFS, but do please keep in mind that it's very unlikely to verify. And actually, I think the GFS ensembles overnight have probably trended, if anything, a little bit onto the milder side for Christmas. In terms of precipitation, not much. This milder weather is all high pressure dominated, so whilst we have got some rainfall spikes coming through, which you'll expect because it's in the middle of winter, you wouldn't look at that and think it's a particularly wet period of time. It does look as though December is going to be really quite dry, and of course that follows on from December last year, which was also a very dry month as well. These are the surface temperatures and air pressure ensembles from the GFS model for London again. So we can see again we're starting off cold with those surface temperatures down at that sort of level under 5 degrees going down to freezing by night. And this is for central London, so that's really cold, actually, for the capital. But we go through to next week. Temperatures obviously lifting up. We're going up towards 10 degrees. There's 10 degrees Celsius just there. So very mild spell through the early part of next week. But we do see a cooling trend, definitely, as we're going up towards Christmas. That's Christmas Day just there, when again the temperature's more or less gone down to around 5 degrees. But that does disguise a lot of scatter. So got quite a lot of ensemble members by Christmas that are still very mild up here. Quite a lot of ensemble members that are going down to frost level down there. So the mean sort of line is somewhere in the middle. So I think we are seeing evidence of a fairly big split still within the GFS ensembles for this Christmas period. But my gut feeling is that we are probably, on GFS ensembles anyway, have probably gone a little bit more to the milder side of things, if anything, despite that cold operational GFS run. This is how air pressure is looking, so starting quite low pressure at the moment. It's on the way up, by the time we get through to next week, going very high with the pressure over 1,030 millibars, before a very slow drop begins to take place after Christmas period just here. But I mean, even then we're keeping pressure relatively high, really, even after Christmas, still at around 1,020 millibars, something like that. So real high pressure coming up through the course of next week. Temperature anomalies from the 14th to the 22nd of December are coming out milder than average. Not really surprising given what we just saw from the ensemble data. Any possibility of cold conditions happens just beyond this period around Christmas. So, I mean, next week it is going to be a milder than average week, most definitely. Precipitation anomalies, they're still coming out drier than average. So instead of being cold and dry, we're going mild and dry, essentially, next week. This is how the GFS is looking for Monday. Now, this is a midnight run. This is going to be that cold Christmas run. I wanted to include it to show you what it was showing, but do keep all the caveats in mind that this is very unlikely to verify. So, midnight run of GFS has high pressure to our south, low pressure to our north on Monday, bringing up this very mild southwesterly flow. That continues through most of next week. So, up to Thursday, still with the same broad pattern. High pressure is sitting across northern France. We've got low pressure up here as well. Keep an eye on this ridge just here in the middle part of the Atlantic. That is what induces us into colder conditions for Christmas. But up to next Thursday, a week away, we're still looking mild with the winds coming up from the southwest. Now, Friday the 22nd starts to take that high pressure up to the north and west of the British Isles. So you see what's happened there. By the 23rd of December, the high pressure has repositioned. It's still in control, but now it's sitting to our west, which pushes this trough of low pressure down to Central Europe, and the jet stream and the flow is doing something like that. And the upshot is that we start to pull down much colder air from the north and northeast just before Christmas, Saturday 23rd of December. We're up to Christmas Eve now. High pressure is still dominating. It's within much colder air though, and the high pressure is starting to ridge up towards Scandinavia. Notice that you've got a 1,030 millibar ridge starting to sit, I should say, over Scandinavia. And if we go just a little bit beyond that to Christmas Day, you can see that actually that starts to turn the winds into the east, with cold air, very cold air, sitting across Central Europe, starting to push our way. And that's Boxing Day. Again, those easy winds bringing this bitterly cold air in from off the continent. Now, we know that solution from the GFS ensembles, remember, that is the green line just here. That is very unlikely to verify because it doesn't really have any support from any other GFS ensemble members. So I just wanted to show you that so you could see what it was showing. But do keep in mind, it is a cold Christmas. There would be the chance of snow over Christmas if that came off. But again, it is very much an outlier within the GFS ensembles. Now, this is how the ECMWF is looking. So this is Monday again, bringing up those mild southwesterly winds. and that continues into next week as well. Really high pressure through the course of next week. 1,040 millibar area of high pressure sitting around the Bay of Biscay, dragging up this very mild air from the southwest to the end of next week. This is the point where the midnight run of the GFS was starting to turn colder, but the ECMWF is not interested in it at all, and this is what we see by day 10, which is of course Christmas Eve. We're still in this mild to very mild pattern. We've still got this ridge to our south. We've got low pressure out here. We're bringing the air in from west-southwest direction. Northerly winds are trying to push down. They're heading in towards Scandinavia. If we could roll on another day, it's possible, only possible, that this area of low pressure just here will go in that sort of direction, and the ridge will pull up there, which will start turning winds into the north. That's possible if we could go on another 24 hours. We can't, however, and what we can say is up to day 10, the ECMWF is keeping things mild. Now, the 6 o'clock run of the GFS is updating as I'm speaking, so I'll just show you what that is showing as far as we can get with it. So this is up to this is starting Monday again, bringing in those mild southwesterly winds. So we've got a prolonged sort of mild spell setting up for next week, definitely. This is up to Thursday. And again, we've still got that high pressure to our south across France. We've got the low pressure up to the north, and we're still bringing up those southwest winds. This is the ridge just here. Looks very weak and flimsy, I have to say, that the GFS midnight run was developing, and that's how we get into that colder situation. That's how it looks on Thursday. This is the upper air temperatures for Thursday, showing that they are looking really quite mild. This is Friday. So, again, we are trying to form that ridge out to the west of the country, but it's not as strong, I don't think, on the 6 o'clock run of the GFS as it was on the midnight run. However, some sort of cooler air is starting to come down across the country from the north. Not as much as we had on the midnight run, but some sort of cooler conditions are starting to occur. This is how the 6 o'clock run looks for Saturday the 23rd under this ridge of high pressure. And I'll see if we've got the day 10 chart. And this is it, and this is a much milder chart compared to the midnight run. So I think we have to take that midnight run of the GFS really with a pinch of salt. It was a cold run, definitely, but I think a lot of caution is required on it. However, that's how things are looking on Christmas Day with this latest 6 o'clock run of the GFS. And again, you see it is trying to get that high pressure up to Scandinavia. It is trying to pull that high pressure up to Scandinavia, and it is trying to get the wind into the east. Now, I've got a very steep polar vortex out here around Greenland, so getting the ridge into Scandinavia is going to be quite a job with such a strong polar vortex. Can we go any further with this latest 6 o'clock run of GFS? And that's how it looks on Boxing Day. And definitely we have got an easterly wind beginning to push in then on Boxing Day. So again, you see the cold pool is waiting to our east. It's trying to get our way. Any further can we get with this 6 o'clock run of the GFS? No, that's yesterday's update. So I think we can say that the midnight run, which was very cold and wintry for Christmas, was definitely an outlier, and it's unlikely to pan out like that. However, the fact that the 6 o'clock run, I'm a bit surprised it's doing it, 6 o'clock run of the GFS is also trying to get that high pressure up to Scandinavia around Christmas, is interesting, and does perhaps lend support that we could get ourselves back into a colder situation for, if not Christmas, certainly for the final week of December. But I think we really need to see the ECMWF starting to come on board with this before we take it too seriously. Now, I've got a bit of a problem tonight because I've got to do the 21st Christmas update, and if the GFS manages to conjure up another one of these cold updates, I'm sure everybody will get very excited. But as I say, we do really need to keep our feet on the ground with this for the Christmas period, and particularly see evidence that the ECMWF is trying to get on board with it as well. So a lot of uncertainty for around the Christmas period. Certainly most of next week is looking mild. It's all from around the 22nd, 23rd of December onwards. That's when we've got this uncertainty. And we're just going to wait and see how it plays out. There are no certainties with the weather. It may be that that cold GFS midnight run was something of a trend setter. It's possible. But let's just wait and see where things are going and keep our feet on the ground for now. Right, that's all for now. We've got the 21st Christmas update coming up tonight around 7 o'clock. It will be a very interesting one, whatever the GFS is showing. So come back for that tonight. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.